Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Destination Next, a series of programs in which we will explore new and exciting places around the Greater Toronto area. I'm your host Bilal Tahir, but I'm not the only one on this exciting journey. With me, I have my fellow explorers.
And you are watching Destination Next. A new destination, what fascination. We'll go exploring a new creation. See to feel Earth, travel around the world. See to feel Earth, travel around the world. So here we go, a new destination. Some inspiration, a little agitation, more complication. We'll push our minds for some formulation. We'll go exploring a new destination. Destination Next.
In this show, us kids will travel around the GTA to learn about the environment that surrounds us. Exploring is promoted in the Jamaat because in the Holy Quran, Allah had laid great emphasis on traveling. Say, travel in the earth and see how He originated the creation. Then will Allah provide the latter creation. Surely, Allah has power over all things. Today we arrived at the Aga Khan Museum in Toronto, Ontario. It's 39.7 kilometers away from the Baptist Mosque, just 30 minutes away.
Did you know that the Aga Khan Museum is the only museum in the Western world that is dedicated to arts and objects from Muslim civilizations?
Who made this museum?
It was made by the Aga Khan in September 2014. That's just over 5 years ago.
I'm so excited. When can we go inside?
Let's go now.
Look at that. Look at that.
Admiring the great architecture of the building, well, did you know that it's greatly inspired by the Muslim builders of the past? And an example, and not to brag, have you seen this book on me?
You?
Yes, well, of course, as I'm the famous Sinan. In fact, one of the greatest architects, some would say. During my lifetime, I was involved in the buildings of more than 470 structures, including the Grand Suleimani Mosque, built in Istanbul, built for Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent himself. And my masterpiece, the Suleimani Mosque, is in Edirne, all designed to withstand earthquakes, and yes, most of them are standing to this very day.
Word of the day.
Bayt-ul-Hikmah, or the House of Wisdom, was a large library and academic center in Baghdad, Iraq. Here, the Abbasid Empire began to collect knowledge in the form of books from around the world. These books came to Iraq in different languages and were then translated into Arabic. To encourage people to translate the books, it is said that one caliph would even pay the translators the weight of the book in gold. By collecting knowledge from around the world, Baghdad became the center of science and advancement in the world. Translators, academics, scientists, and regular men and women traveled to Baghdad to increase their knowledge. The House of Wisdom inspired similar centers of learning across the Muslim world. These became a part of the golden age of Islam, wherein Muslims made strides in economic and scientific advancement and laid the groundwork for modern scientific thinking. This era of Muslim scientific advancement and progress came to an end with the invasion of the Mongols from the east and the Crusaders from the west. All the libraries were destroyed, and the books were either burned down or thrown into the Tigris River, turning the river black with ink. Despite this destruction, the ideas of the time had already spread across the Muslim empire as far as Spain. This transfer of knowledge led to the European Renaissance as Europe emerged from its dark and Middle Ages.
Wow, this place is so big. There's so much to look at. Where do we even begin?
Hi kids, welcome to the Aga Khan Museum. My name is Laboni and I'm a tour guide here. Are you excited to go in? Yeah. This is the museum's courtyard. Notice all the light? Over the course of the day, the sun shines on the different surfaces, casting shadows on the wall. It's like the museum and the courtyard are a giant sundial.
Wow, that's so cool. Wait a minute, where's Labik?
Admiring the wonders of how light works, eh? Well, I used to wonder about it a lot. That is probably why some would say I am the father of optics. My name is Ibn al-Haytham, and I used to work near the Great Nile River. That is where I made my greatest discoveries. Absolutely nothing to do with rivers and dams, but with the way our eyes work. You see, even the learned ancients had led us to believe that our eyes worked by shooting out invisible rays that lit up objects around us. But I was the first person to scientifically demonstrate that it is actually light traveling in straight lines from objects that enter our eyes. The rest is history, and of course, it has now revolutionized experimental science and optics in your world. In fact, did you know that cameras work exactly in the same way as your eyes? Even the ones on your mobile phone. I bet you've even got one with you right now. Want to take my photo?
Wait, Labik, weren't you?
What?
Let's keep going. We haven't even gone into the gallery yet.
Welcome to the main gallery at the Aga Khan Museum. This space is filled with so many different objects. Objects that relate to faith and art and science and much more.
What's that?
That is a map of the world. Let's go take a closer look. Islam was born here in Arabia, but it spread as far west as North Africa and Europe, and as far east as China and Indonesia. This map shows us different Muslim civilizations from different time periods in history and in different parts of the world. Let's continue our tour. Let's take a closer look at some manuscripts related to the theme of science.
Welcome, dear kids. As you can see, these are the works of my like-minded peers, like Ibn Sina and Mansour.
What?
Oh, you know who I am, don't you?
No.
Well, I am the famous 10th century surgeon, Al-Zarbi.
10th century?
Shouldn't you be dead by now?
Well, that's a minor technical difficulty. Nothing we can't resolve. Now, where was I? Yes, I was telling you about myself. I am Navino Al-Zarbi, physician and surgeon to the Caliph of Andalusia himself. True, yes, but if you know me, you know that in spite of my celebrity, I have a great medical mind and surgeon. My practice was open to all, even the poorest of persons. And if you know me, you know that I also found time to produce the first definite 30-volume medical encyclopedia of thus street. 3 of those books alone were the most important work in medicine in 500 years. Now, I will have to go and take someone's tonsils out.
Is this place haunted or something?
Not really. We're just trying to give you the best experience ever. Let's continue our tour.
I remember seeing these at the ROM.
That's so cool. Let's take a look at them together. These are all bowls, of course. What material do you think they might have been made out of? Clay?
I think it's called earthenware.
Earthenware. Wow, you're a very knowledgeable kid. Why do you think we call it earthenware?
Because it's made out of clay, and clay comes from the ground.
Absolutely. The clay comes from the earth, and so we call them earthenware. Let's take a look at some of the designs. What do you notice?
There's some verses from the Quran.
Ah, so we have some fancy writing here. This is calligraphy. Calligraphy means beautiful writing. And if we look at the bowl in the center, the calligraphy actually reads, "Generosity is the disposition of the dwellers of paradise." Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Oh, let's continue our tour. All right, everyone, let's gather around this. Do you remember the bowls that we just saw? How they had examples of calligraphy or beautiful writing? We also have calligraphy on this basin. Those are the lines that you're seeing. What other types of designs do you see here?
Well, there's this like scorpion kind of thing.
That's an amazing observation. That is a scorpion. So we also have human and other animal figures. And this is a scorpion. And it's amazing that you noticed that. Is anyone here familiar with what a constellation is?
Yeah,
What's a constellation?
it's a group of stars that form together to make a picture.
Absolutely. So a constellation is a group of stars that form together to make a picture of something. So this picture of the scorpion actually represents the constellation Scorpio that's up in the sky. And all of the pictures that go around the bottom of this really, really old basin represent different constellations.
Are there like those like faces?
That's right. Yeah. All of the calligraphy here, it almost looks as though there's a head on top of it, a little bit of a face. That's a great observation.
I see like a little tiger here.
Yes, that's definitely some kind of wildcat. And right beneath it, we have a great example of geometry. And if you go even below, do you see the flowers? Yeah. So this basin is amazing because it actually shows us 4 key kinds of designs that appear in a lot of Islamic art and architecture. And that's calligraphy, geometry, floral, and figural, which means humans and other animal forms.
Now what? They have girl ghosts too?
Well, that is a very non-scientific way of describing me. My name is Maryam al-Ijliya al-Astulabi, and I lived in the 10th century. I, like my father before me, spent all of my life studying astronomy and making astrolabes. But what is an astrolabe, I hear you ask? Well, think of it as a sophisticated navigation device, but like a computer. It had a wide range of uses. It could tell time during the day, tell the direction of Makkah in the east, and pinpoint locations of various stars. Astronomers in particular cherished and used them extensively. For we were all fascinated by the heavens for its deep reference in the Holy Quran. So much so that scholars in early Muslim civilization established astronomy as a new and exciting science in its own right. A science that could help us discover the secrets of our universe. What is clear is that ideas and technology that blossomed in my time helped shape the thinking of many that followed. I have just wasted lots of valuable time away from calculations. Bye now.
Let's take a look at this carpet. What do you notice?
There's lots of colors on it.
A lot of leaves and stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot of colors and leaves and designs. This carpet is very old. It was made in Iran in the 17th century or the 1600s. It's made of many materials, including wool, cotton, and silk, and it's been knotted, which is absolutely incredible. See that lighter patch of blue over there? What animals do you notice there?
Fish.
They're fish. So they're fish there, so what must that represent?
Pond or water.
Pond or water. So these lighter strips that form the shape of the letter H, those are all channels of water, and there's a pool of water at the center. And the channels of water divide this garden carpet into 4 parts. And it was actually inspired by a very traditional 4-part garden called a char bagh. Pretty cool. But what if I told you that this is an example not only of art, but also of science?
Good. I see you're admiring artwork that would have not been possible without me.
And who are you? Another ghost?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad ibn Zakaria Razi from Persia. I was born and lived in Muslim Baghdad, where in the 10th century I excelled as a physician, an alchemist, a chemist, and a mathematician. I busied myself writing more than 200 books on medicine, music, and philosophy. But I love chemistry the most, and in my books, The Secrets of Secrets, I describe distillation, calcinations, and crystallizations over 1100 years ago. Without distillation, you wouldn't have your fuels, plastics, fertilizers, or your pretty dyes. Without these pretty dyes, you wouldn't have all these beautiful art pieces.
All right, let's take a look at this case. Here we have the Quran, and some of these are sections of the Quran, and some of them are entire manuscripts. And as you know, Muslims believe that the word of God was transmitted through the angel Gabriel to the Prophet Muhammad in the form of revelations. And these revelations were brought together to create the Quran, which is a manuscript that has been marvelously preserved.
Also, the reason that Muslims were able to contribute so much towards science and advancement was because of the stress laid in the Holy Quran for seeking knowledge. Also, the fact that the need to preserve the Holy Quran led to extensive scribing and later the use of paper, which Muslims learned from China, but later they taught the world, and books.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, everyone, come, let's look at this. A couple neat things about this case. So if we look at all of these examples from the Quran, they're actually coming from different parts of the world. So the one over here right in front of me is from Egypt. The one over here is from India. The one over from here is from Iraq. And the small one all the way at the end is either from Northwest Africa or possibly Spain. The text is the same, but the style of writing and the design of the page and sometimes even the materials that have been used, those are going to vary depending on where the Quran was actually made. So do any of you use a computer to type?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that you're typing some kind of school assignment in English. You know how there are different fonts that you can choose? It's kind of like that, like Times New Roman, that's right. So it's like that. So there are different styles of this script. So this is the Bihari style, and if we go to the end over here, this is a different style. It's so tiny. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how anyone would have read this. But this is the Maghrebi style script.
That makes it way more
It's easy to understand, right? Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And some of them are more curvy, some flow more, some are much more geometric. We used that word before, and they're more angular. But those tend to be the older Qurans that we passed at the very early part of the gallery. And those are in the Kufic script, which is very, very angular and very geometric.
Is that you?
Who's that? Anyway, so how's your most exciting educational experience today?
Good.
I love hearing about that, as I'm a big fan of learning. I don't think you know who I am though, do you?
No.
Well, if I wasn't there, you wouldn't have any universities, now would you?
Yes.
My name is Fatima Al-Fahri. Some call me Al-Fahriya, and I was born over 1,000 years ago in the 9th century. A long time, yes. I established a mosque complex which became one of the oldest universities in the world, the University of Al-Qarabi in Fez, Morocco, a surprise to many of you, I'm sure. You see, the Muslim world was renowned for its centers of learning. Knowledge was a highly prized commodity, especially because of all the stress the Holy Quran laid on seeking knowledge. So it's considered a great service to society to expand the mind and push forward the boundaries of that knowledge. In Baghdad, 4 generations of caliphs, some of the world's greatest collection of knowledge. The House of Wisdom. It was truly famous the world over. A vast library, housing thousands of books, attracted the brightest minds from the 4 corners of Muslim lands. Dear children, I do hope you know the dua, Rabbi Zidni Ilma. Repeat after me.
Rabbi Zidni Ilma.
Do read it often, okay? I wish you blessed learning. Khudafis.
All right, so let's take a look at this large object over here. What do you think that is?
Tower made out of bones?
A tower made out of bones. Who has another idea?
A mosque.
A mosque? I've had many people say that. Anybody else?
Might have water.
They have water in it. Someone said a fountain. So believe it or not, that actually is a fountain. The water, of course, is missing because we can't have the water in the middle of the Aga Khan Museum. So this fountain is really, really old. It was made in the 16th century or the 1500s, and it was made in Egypt. This is a great example of both art and science coming together. Remember all those geometric patterns that we talked about earlier? So you'll see tons of geometry. Yeah, it's everywhere. There's tons of geometry over here. And all of these pieces have been put together using marble and sandstone. And why do you think a fountain would have been useful or important in the 16th century in Egypt? What purpose would it serve? To have water, maybe? Who has another idea?
Also really hot there.
Yeah, it's really hot, and this is a time before air conditioning, of course, right?
Also,
So the water, so the water served many purposes. The fountain served many purposes. So the water would cool the air and the atmosphere around it. It would also be decorative. You would find fountains like this both indoors and outdoors. Sometimes they would be in courtyards, similar to the one that we saw at the start of the tour. And it's also a social space. So people would gather like we're gathering. Maybe they would sit at the edge and speak to one another and tell one another stories. Yeah, so like I said, it's a great example of art and science coming together.
That was so much fun.
Thank you for joining us today. Join us again on Destination Next. Khuda Hafiz.
Jazakallah for watching. We hope that you liked our episode today. You can also get creative and share with us your pictures and drawings for a chance to win Destination Next souvenir. Also, tell us where you'd like to explore next on Twitter and Instagram at MTA Canada. We look forward to hearing from you.
A new destination, what fascination. We'll go exploring a new creation. See to feel Earth, travel around the world. See to feel Earth, travel around the world. So here we go, a new destination. Some inspiration, a little agitation, more complication. We'll push our minds for some formulation. We'll go exploring a new destination. Destination Next.